In the year 1290 BC, in the Egyptian city of Thebes with the high priest Imhotep and Hamunaptra, a woman no man is permitted to touch, the lover of Pharaoh Seti I. Imhotep doesn't care, and since they are in love, they have a secret relationship, but the pharaoh discovers them. So the two kill the pharaoh. Imhotep escapes, and Hamunaptra commits suicide.
What the hell?
Believing he can resurrect her, Imhotep and his priests steal his hip and travel to Hamunaptra, the city of the dead. There, Imhotep tries to resurrect her with the Book of the Dead, but the resurrection ritual is stopped by the pharaoh's guards, who had been following him. Imhotep is buried alive in a sarcophagus with carnivorous beetles at the feet of a statue of the god Anubis. The guards swear to prevent his resurrection, and so it begins. Welcome to Random Recaps. In this video, I am going to recap the movie. In the year 1923 AD, the descendants of the pharaoh's guards are still watching the place to ensure Imhotep never awakens. At that moment, we meet Rick O'Connell, who is in the middle of a war. He is cornered and about to be killed, but his pursuers get scared and leave. Rick hears a noise at the statue of Anubis, and a face emerges from the earth. So Rick runs away, and the guards decide not to kill him. 3 years later in Egypt, we meet Evelyn, a librarian working in Cairo, who falls off a ladder and creates a mess. She has a brother named Jonathan, who plays a prank on her. Jonathan shows her an intricate box that contains a map leading to the city of Hamunaptra. Her boss tells her that Hamunaptra is just a myth and accidentally burns part of the map. Jonathan then tells her that he stole the relic from an American, Rick O'Connell, who is now imprisoned in Cairo. Evelyn asks Rick about the box. Rick tells her he found the box in Hamunaptra. Evelyn is impressed and asks how to get to Hamunaptra. Rick kisses her and asks her to get him out of there.
Where are they taking him?
To be hanged.
Rick is about to be hanged, and Evelyn negotiates to free Rick. Evelyn tells the official that Rick knows where Hamunaptra is
You lie.
I will never.
and negotiates with him to have Rick take them there. After that, Rick leads them on the way to Hamunaptra. On the boat, they meet a group of American treasure hunters also seeking Hamunaptra. Rick prepares the weapons, saying there's evil in those lands, and Evelyn tells him she's actually looking for a book, the Amunra, a pure of gold book.
The Book of Amun-Ra. It contains within it all the secret incantations of the Old Kingdom.
Rick meets Benny, an old acquaintance who brought the Americans to take them to Hamunaptra. Rick throws Benny off the boat and realizes someone has boarded the ship. The pharaoh's guardians interrupt Evelyn's room, asking about the map. Rick comes to help her. The guardian goes for the box, which he calls the key. Then Jonathan arrives and pushes him, but the guardian still takes the key. The entire ship catches fire. Rick throws Evelyn off the boat, fights one of the guards, and jumps off. Meanwhile, the Americans shoot wildly, and Jonathan manages to keep the key. They all reach the shore, and the next day they travel by camel. Rick guides them through the desert and encounters Benny and the Americans. As the sun rises, Hamunaptra appears. Everyone rushes to get there first. Rick knocks Benny off the camel, and Evelyn arrives first. They descend under the statue of Anubis to a preparation hall for the afterlife, where they meet the Americans. One of their companions gets lost and finds some beetles he thinks are blue gold and removes them from the wall. The Americans try to open a chest and get splashed with acid. Meanwhile, a sarcophagus falls from the base of Anubis in front of Rick and Evelyn. A beetle falls off the guy and burrows into his skin. In the sarcophagus, they find a lock, and Evelyn realizes she has the key. The man comes running like crazy, but Rick, Evelyn, and her brother don't know what killed him. Then the pharaoh's guardians arrive to attack everyone. everyone shoots, and Rick encounters Ardith, one of the Guardians' leaders, who warns them to leave in a day or die.
But you must leave. Leave this place or die.
The Americans manage to extract the chest from the statue of Anubis. The chest basically says not to open it or a plague will fall. They ignore the warning and open it anyway. Meanwhile, Rick, Evelyn, and Jonathan open the sarcophagus they found. In the chest, the Americans find the Book of the Dead. They also take some vases from the chest. Evelyn realizes they found the book. Later, Evelyn takes the book from the American, and since she has the key, she opens the book and reads from it, reviving Imhotep.
No! You must not read from the book!
Beetles appear, and the poor American has his glasses broken, so he can't see well.
You poor, ugly thing, you.
Beetles come out of the ground, and the protagonists run. Evelyn falls through a secret door and meets the American, now eyeless, and Imhotep. Imhotep speaks to her. The others find Evelyn, and Rick shoots the mummy. The Guardians arrive, angry at the others for not leaving and awakening Imhotep. Benny meets the mummy, and Imhotep uses him, offering him gold and asking where the other sacred vases are. The protagonists return to Cairo. Rick wants to leave, but Evelyn wants to stay and stop the mummy. Benny takes Imhotep to the now blind man to finish the job. Rick realizes the mummy is there because the drink turned into blood and because fire falls from the sky. They find the desiccated man and the mummy rejuvenating, more or less. Rick shoots at the mummy, and it thanks Evelyn for reviving him. The mummy looks at a cat and gets scared. Then they go to the museum and meet the Guardians, and it turns out Evelyn's boss was also part of the Pharaoh's guards. The Guardians realize Imhotep wants to resurrect Anxunamun and wants Evelyn as his human sacrifice. To prevent the mummy from regenerating, they must save those who open the chest, and Rick locks Evelyn up to keep her out of trouble. Rick finds Benny, who tells him the mummy wants the Book of the Dead to resurrect Anxunamun. Benny escapes, and through the window, Rick and Jonathan see the mummy absorbing the Egyptologist, one of the chest openers, making the mummy more powerful. The mummy enters a room with one of the Americans and absorbs him too. Evelyn, locked in the same room, is sleeping. Imhotep enters the room and kisses Evelyn. Rick arrives and shows him a cat, scaring the mummy away. Evelyn deduces that the Black Book revived Imhotep.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock!
So the Book of Ammonius-Ra can kill him again, though she doesn't know where it is. Then we see the mummy with followers acting like zombies. Evelyn figures out where the Book of Ammonius-Ra is.
I've got it! The Golden Book of Amun-Ra is at Hamunaptra inside the statue of Horus.
They all flee by car, but the mummy has zombified everyone. Rick doesn't care and keeps going. They grab the last person who opened the chest, and the mummy absorbs him. The others are cornered. Imhotep fully regenerates and tries to take Evelyn,
Take my hand, and I will spare your friends.
and she agrees so no one gets hurt. Benny takes the key from Jonathan, and the mummy orders their execution. Rick, Jonathan, and Ardith escape through a sewer while the other holds off the slave army. Rick goes for help to rescue Evelyn, and they go in a plane. Imhotep takes Evelyn back, and Benny returns to Hamunaptra. The mummy unleashes a sandstorm on Rick and the others. Rick shoots the sand.
Bruh.
Evelyn kisses Imhotep to stop it, and the plane crashes. But everyone is okay, except the pilot who sinks into quicksand. Jonathan gets a beetle inside him, but Rick removes it. The mummy revives some priests to kill Rick and the others. They find a room full of gold where the priests appear.
All right then.
They flee and Rick throws dynamite at them. Meanwhile, Benny takes the gold, and Evelyn is about to be sacrificed. Rick and Jonathan find the golden book, and Ardith faces the priests alone like a hero. Imhotep revives Anxunamun as a mummy, and she is about to kill Evelyn when Jonathan arrives, distracting the mummy so Rick can save Evelyn. An army of mummies approaches. Evelyn tells Jonathan that if he finishes reading the cover of the book, he can control the mummies. Rick tries to flee from them and fights them. Anksunamun tries to kill Evelyn, and the mummies are about to kill Rick, but Jonathan manages to control them. Imhotep loses power over them, so Jonathan orders them to kill Anksunamun's mummy version. Rick cuts off Imhotep's arm, and he throws it and regenerates. Jonathan takes the key from Imhotep and opens the book. The mummy tries to absorb Rick, but Evelyn reads the book of Ammonius, turning Imhotep mortal, and Rick kills him. Meanwhile, Benny, seeking more gold, accidentally activates a self-destruct mechanism. Hamunaptra collapses into the sand, and the protagonists and Benny try to escape, but Benny gets trapped and eaten by beetles. The others manage to escape from Hamunaptra and meet Ardith, who survived. He bids them farewell. Rick and Evelyn kiss. They leave with the camels and the gold Benny had taken, and that's how the movie ends.